Shalom, everyone. This is Rabbi Allen. So as we've been doing every week, we are going to go through the Torah portions, and each week we are going to reveal Messiah and the body of Messiah in our Torah portions. So this week, our portion is Beha'alotcha. Beha'alotcha is when you set up. And it's referring to God telling Moses what to do, how to set up the menorah. The menorah is the seven-branched candlestick that will be in the temple before the priest would pass that before they get into the Holy of Holies. And so we have sort of a remnant, let's say, something that we have in our synagogues, in synagogues all around the world. And that is the Ner Tamid, the eternal light. And although we don't have a menorah that is lit eternally the way it was done in the temple, we do have a light that is lit and stays lit continually, the Ner Tamid, the eternal light. So in our portion this week, it's interesting because although God has talked about the furnishings of the altar and the ark, in this portion, he doesn't really talk about the altar or the ark, but he keys in specifically on the menorah. And so why is the menorah a central thing here in the opening of our portion? I believe it's because light is very important to Israel, to God, to the body of Messiah. Light is a very important thing, and it's a very important concept. And so God wanted to emphasize the light that was in the temple. And so we read about, and even the rabbis over the years have said, that the Torah is a light. It's a light to us. It was a light to Israel. It was the contract. It was the rules and regulations how to live a good life with God. And so the Torah in that sense is a light because it directs us each and every day. Also, Israel was called to be a light to the nations. And we read about that in the Torah and in the Tanakh, in the rest of the Old Testament. We are, as Jewish people, we were to bring the light of Torah and the light of God. We were to bring these lights to the nations, to the world. In the book of Isaiah, in the Old Testament, in the Tanakh, the suffering servant, the Messiah, is revealed. And he is revealed to be the light to Israel. And he is also, in Isaiah, revealed to be a light to the nations and to the entire world. And so in Isaiah 6:14, as an example, it says, and now we have to realize this is about 700 years before Yeshua is born. And Isaiah is actually considered our most messianic book in the Tanakh. Isaiah was really the most messianic prophet, telling us so much in his writings. And so in Isaiah 6:14, he wrote, Adonai will give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive a son, and you shall call his name Emmanuel. Now, Emmanuel is really a Hebrew word or phrase that means God with us. So imagine this 700 years before the birth of Yeshua, this Jewish prophet tells Israel that a virgin is going to have a son, and that we will call him God with us, Emmanuel. Then we read a little bit further on in Isaiah 9:6, it says, and it's talking about the same child that is born. Isaiah says, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and his name will be Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. In Hebrew, Pele, Yoetz, El Gibor, Aviad, Sar Shalom. And so Isaiah tells us specifically, not that won't be his actual name, but these are the titles that he will be called. So we read about light. We read about light in the Torah. We read about light in the Old Testament. And we also read about light connecting us with Messiah in the Brit Hadashah in the Old Testament. And so in the book of John, in John chapter 8, we read the recorded event where Yeshua tells his people, he says, I am the light of the world, and whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but have the light of light. And so we can see, as we've done so many week after week after week, that the Torah in the Old Testament and the Brit Hadashah, they all coincide together, they all blend together, telling us this wonderful story and giving us this wonderful understanding of who Messiah is and how we are to relate to the Messiah as the body of Messiah. And so, as the menorah, the eternal menorah, the eternal light, lit the way as the priest, as the high priest would go into the Holy of Holies with the sacrifice for the sins of the people, so that the sins of Israel could be atoned for. In the same way, the light of the world, Yeshua, directs our path as we go towards the understanding that Messiah is our everlasting light, and that Messiah is the way to have our sins atoned for. Again, in the Torah, the menorah as the light directed the high priest so that we can have our sins atoned for as a nation. And today, Yeshua is the light of the world, so he could direct our way so that we one day will have everlasting light. And so I want to remind you before I leave you this week, if you're watching on YouTube, please let people know about this. You can like this YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel. The channel is called Rabbi on the Fly, and you can subscribe to this. And I believe if you ring the little bell that's there on the bottom, you'll get a notification every time I release the weekly videos. So until next week, this is Rabbi Allen bidding you shalom, shalom.